now that we finished setting up our file in Illustrator and exporting it to an SVG, up next we want to get our code files set up. So I'm going to take my project file here and I'm going to open it up in my code editor. So here I've got it all opened up. And now I want to create a new folder that I want to put all of my code files in. So I'm going to create that. So I'm going to call it www. So I know it's my web folder for all my web files. And then inside that, I'm going to start by creating an index.html file. And then in my index.html file, I'm going to put some starter code, my boilerplate here. So that comes in with a bunch of starter stuff here. So I've got my doc type, I've got my head, title, all that good stuff, my viewport. Mine comes with a few extra CSS files linked that I don't need for this project, so I'm going to remove those. I'm going to add my title here, game plan, SVG Loader, and then I got my CSS file nicely linked. So now that since I've got that set up and linked, I'm going to then make those files. So I'm going to make my CSS folder, and inside that I'm going to put a main.css file. I like to be able to see both of my files at once, so I'm going to split my screen here so that I can see both. Now that I've got those nicely set up, let's drop in some of our code here. So I'm going to come to my files here. I've got SpriteBot open, ready to go. I'm going to come take my icon.svg file that I previously created, and I'm just going to drag and drop that into SpriteBot, and you'll see that it compresses it and makes some fixes for us. And now, since I've got that there, I'm going to come edit, copy SVG, so that'll copy all the SVG code, and then I'm going to paste that right into the body of my HTML here. So I've got this good to go. I've got all my SVG stuff here. It's got this defs and the style tags here, which I'm going to take out. And then I'm going to drop this code here, which is some styling that we will want to keep. I'm going to drop that into my CSS file. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit here. I'm going to remove unnecessary lines and then make sure I got some nice indentation. You see here again, because I properly set up my Illustrator file, I've got all these IDs nicely put on all these here. And then I've got some starter information here that has been applied to all of my lines. So I'm just going to quickly go through here and edit all this so that it looks a little nicer and easier to read. So we see here that it has automatically applied this class of CLS-1, and then it's doing some styling in my CSS on this CLS-1 class. I think it works. It technically will do the job, but I don't think that's really great because it's not well named and it's kind of confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly do a quick find and replace to change this to a more appropriate class name. So I'm going to call this, I believe this is putting our stroke color and everything on it. So I'm just going to put, rename this as line stroke, or maybe we'll do crown stroke because that makes a little more sense. So I'm going to change all of them to crown stroke, and I'm going to do the same thing in my CSS. So I'm just going to change this name of that. So now it's more appropriately named, and it will be easier to tell what this chunk of code is doing for me. So now that I've got that basic set up, I can go to my file here and I can open it up in my browser. We can see that I have my SVG code, my SVG showing up in my browser. So that's pretty decent here. I've got it in there. And now that it's in there and we've got it as code, we can start doing some manipulations to it.